What is up, YouTube? Dottz Gaming here, and today I am back with the Burn build. That's right, we have revamped my Burn build from Clockwork City / Dragonbones to be updated for the Wolfhunter patch. Recently, after playing my Unchained build for a while, I had an itch to try to make my Burn build work again. It's not that the Unchained build is bad. Bloodspawn, Spinners, and Shacklebreaker is an amazing combo that works very, very well. It's really, really strong, but I just had this itch to try to go back to my old build that used the Valken Skoria and Burning Spellweave and update it for this patch. I love the Skoria procs and the heavy armor build. The burst that it offers combined with leap is amazing, and I wanted to see, now that I was significantly better at my Magicka than I used to be, how I could update that build for the current patch. And let me tell you guys, this build is so much stronger than the previous iteration. It does so much more damage. We have sacrificed our recovery in favor of damage because, like I said, I have improved at my Dragon Knight enough that I don't need to run nearly as much recovery as I have previously. So we traded in about 400 recovery for almost 4,000 Magicka. That is the difference in the amount of damage we are running now. So our tooltips are really, really good. Our dots tick super hard, and our burst is very, very high. If you guys liked my old Burn build, you're going to be a huge fan of this, so I hope you guys enjoy the build video. Now, this is just what I am choosing to run on my DK for this build. If you guys do not like the build, you don't have to run it. If you think it's bad, you don't have to run. You don't have to put the build on. This is just what works for me, what I liked. If there's something you would run differently, go ahead and change it. This is just what I like and what I enjoy playing. So with that out of the way, let's get into the build. It is the exact same gear for the most part as what I ran last time. 2 pieces of Valken Skoria, which gives a line of health and gives us a chance to summon a meteor on dot damage that deals almost 13k flame damage to the target, with about 6k flame damage to all enemies within 5 meters, occurring every 5 seconds. This set is awesome. It deals so much burst damage, and if you combine it with leap, whenever you hear that audio cue, you can really just wreck someone's day. We run a lot of dots in this build, so this thing is constantly proccing, and so we have so much pressure, so much sustained pressure on our enemy, that when you hear that, I'm telling you, when you hear that audio cue from Skoria, if you leap at that time, people will die. It's just such a good set. I love it in my heavy armor builds because it really gives us the burst that we need to just really finish off those hard to kill targets. We also are running Shacklebreaker. Everybody knows how much I love Shacklebreaker. I think it's one of the best sets from Magicka. And in my heavy armor builds, I pretty much run it in all of them. Like, I always use this in a heavy armor build because it just gives an amazing stat spread. The weapon damage line, you know, doesn't necessarily go to waste because we do use a sword and shield, so it does help a tiny bit. We have a line of spell damage, lines of recovery for both Magicka and stamina, and then big boost to our Magicka and stamina pools, which is always very, very welcomed in a sword and shield build. And then the main DPS set for this build is Burning Spellweave, giving us a line of max Magicka, a line of spell damage, a line of spell crit, and then when we deal damage with a flame damage ability, we have a chance to apply the burning status effect and get 507 spell damage for 8 seconds. Now, this does have 4 seconds of downtime, but with the amount of dots that we run in this build, this thing is proccing constantly. So you'll always have it every 12 seconds. Like, it will proc for that 8 seconds. You do not have to worry about that. So this helps us gain and have a really large spell power pool while in heavy armor without sacrificing any tankiness. And because this is just general spell power and not like conditional spell power like Sun or Axiom, it affects everything. It affects literally everything. So I love BSW for this build. In terms of traits and stuff, we are running, I believe, 3 impenetrable and 5 sturdy. Yes, that is what we are running. I am running 3 multi-enchant glyphs on the head, chest, and legs, and then all Magicka on everything else. For jewelry, we are running all arcane, 2 spell damage, and 1 recovery. My recovery is about 1379 in this build. I feel that that is enough. If you think that that is too little recovery, and if you really, really struggle with it, I would recommend that you try to maybe run an additional recovering glyph. You just do need to keep in mind that your spell damage will not be as high. It will be a little bit lower, but it will be a bit easier to sustain. So it's really kind of up to you and what you feel that you need. We're running a Nernhone Shackle Breaker Sword on the front bar with a defending Ice Staff on the back bar. The Ice Staff is weapon and spell damage enchant, and then our front bar, we are using a Drain Magicka Poison to give ourselves both Magicka and Stamina Restoration, so that I'm choosing to run that on my front bar. If you are morally against poisons, go ahead and run a Fiery Damage enchant on my front bar. Now, I am choosing to run Burning Spell Weave on just my front bar only. I do drop the 5-piece off on my back bar, and that is because I don't want it accidentally proccing on my back bar. All my damage and my big heals are on my front bar, so that's where I want the proc to start. I want that 8-second duration to start when I'm on my front bar, not while I'm on my back bar, you know, maybe rebuffing up or doing stuff. I want it on my front bar. Now, if you want to, you could also choose to drop the 4-piece on the back bar and maybe run something else on the back bar, maybe Death's Wind, Willpower, whatever you want. But I'm just choosing to do it. Keep the 4-piece on my back bar, you know, do what you'd like, but that is what I'm choosing. And then another change from the old builds, like I said, I am running an Ice Staff now instead of an Inferno Staff. I like Ice Staffs now because I can actually block. If with my old build, there were certain times where there were situations I need to block on my back bar and my stamina would just get absolutely shredded, and it was awful. So I have chosen to go with an Ice Staff nowadays, which has been really, really enjoyable. I've been loving Sword and Board Ice Staff for my heavy builds. Cannot recommend it enough. So that is gear. Moving into our skill lineup. We have Flame Lash with about a 9k flame damage tooltip, a little bit more, 9.1k. Really, really good for a heavy armor build, and that is not including Burning Spell Weave, so that will only go up. Can't say enough good things about this. When you get the Power Lash, you deal a lot more damage, you stun, you heal. It's just a really, really good skill overall. Instrumental in every MagDK PvP build. We are running Burning Embers. Burning Embers, I know some people run without it. I don't know how. I love this skill. It is a single target dot that when it is done, it heals you for 93% of the total damage inflicted. This is really instrumental to your healing output, so I would always recommend having this and applying it to as many people as you can and making sure that you always have this up at all times. It is so, so, so important to maintain this. We're also running Shattering Rocks. You can run Shattering Rocks or Fossilize. It really doesn't matter. Both skills are really, really good. I've been giving Shattering Rocks a try and been liking it because I find the heal is very, very nice. But if you prefer the root after the stun, go ahead and run Fossilize. Both skills are great. I'm not going to say a bad thing about either. They're definitely both worth it. I am running Burning Talons on this build. Normally, I am a fan of Choking Talons. I do think the Minor Maim is generally better, but for this build, being that it is so dot heavy and so dot focused, I really wanted to just stick with the theme, and so I decided to go with the higher damage option and run Burning Talons. And because I am running a good bit into Thaumaturge, I just felt like it was a really, really good option. We are running Coag on our front bar. We have about an 8k tooltip, not including BSW, not including any other buffs. Really strong on our front bar. Our front bar is where our spell damage is highest, so I wanted to incorporate Coag into my front bar, and we got it up here in our 5th slot. It's our main burst heal for the build. Don't just rely on Coag. It is an expensive skill, sitting at 4.1k Magicka cost. You want to use Shattering Rocks, Burning Embers, Flame Lash as your heals, and use Coag only when you desperately need it. Our ultimate is Ferocious Leap. We have a 17 point, almost 3k Ferocious Leap tooltip, not including BSW. Very, very strong. This is a staple ultimate on every DK build. Big damage, stun, damage shield afterwards. It's cheap. Can't say enough good stuff about it. Back bar. We have Degeneration. Even though we're using a Sword and Board, I still like Degen over Structured Entropy. I don't like how Structured Entropy makes my execute range bigger, so we are still running Degeneration regardless of the fact that our main bar is a Sword and Board. So gives us some minor heals, which is always nice. Can't really complain. It's our source of major sorcery. Much better than Molten Armaments. The cost to duration ratio is much in favor of Degen, so I would absolutely recommend running it. We have Engulfing Flames. I love Engulfing Flames on every single BSW build that I run. It is so good. You get another dot and 10% more damage from all fire attacks. And because our crit in this build is really freaking low, we sit at, on our front bar, 25% crit. Pretty damn low. All right. I like the amount of damage that Engulfing Flame enables, and it also just plays into the theme. It's another dot, right? So we have flame damage dot from talons, flame damage dot from embers, flame damage dot from engulfing flames. It also boosts our flame lash. It also boosts our dragon leap. It's so good for damage amplification that I can't recommend it enough. And then that also combines well with elemental drain. Amazing skill, gives us major breach, 600 effective magicka recovery. It is just such a good skill, and in my opinion, should be run by almost everybody this patch. It just enables so much DPS and recovery that I think it's a mistake to not run the skill. It's just really, really good, and I would recommend using it. Our major resistances is volatile armor. It's just our source of major ward and major resolve. Can't really say much more about it. I am running reflective plate because I have chosen to drop vampirism. In my opinion, vampirism should really only be used on very tanky builds that do want to take use out of mist form. Otherwise, I just think reflective plate's better. I've found a lot of situations this patch, even when I was using mist form, that I was like, damn, I really wish I had wings. It feels really good right now. I was a huge mist form advocate for a really, really long time, but lately I have been finding myself enjoying wings a lot more. I do think that the 2-second immunity to snares and immobilizations was enough to make it an alternative to mist form. If you still like mist form, you're free to run vampirism on this build. This build is able to run vampirism, unlike my undead build that cannot run it, but this build can run vampirism if you do want some extra recovery, and if you do want mist form and bats on the back bar. But I've been running reflective plate and I've been really enjoying it, so I recommend giving it a shot. But if you don't like it, go ahead and run vampirism, because if you do run vampirism, you won't even need to run a second recovery glyph, because I think your recovery will be almost 1500, which is more than enough. So, but I'm running reflective plate. Back bar, we have Eye of Frost. I recently put this in, and let me tell you, I've been really liking it. I have been having a great time with this. Create a cataclysmic storm above you that builds for 2 seconds and then lays waste to all enemies nearby, causing 6,300 frost damage every second for 7 seconds. This deals a lot of damage to a lot of people, and because it's frost, it gives everybody chilled, and it's really good for locking down large groups, dealing massive DPS to large groups, even when you're solo. When you're in group play, this skill is amazing. But even when you're solo, if you're getting attacked by a lot of people and you have the ultimate for this, you just drop this, you're not only going to get an absolutely massive battle roar, but you are going to be dealing a lot of damage to a lot of people. So I would absolutely recommend running this. I think it's really, really good. I've been enjoying it. If you do not like Eye of Frost, go ahead and run Meteor instead. You could, that'd be like my main alternative. I guess you could also run Shifting Standard if you like Standard. But I've been running Eye of Frost. Been really, really liking it. So yeah, I'd recommend giving it a shot. In terms of our stat pool, we are sitting at almost 40k max magicka. Holy, that is a nice max magicka pool. We have 25k maximum health, and then 15k maximum stamina. We don't have quite as much max stamina as I normally do, as I did on my other build, because I am running Witch Mother's Potent Brew Food. So we're sitting at about 15k max stam, which for me is plenty. Like, it's just enough. I would not run ever less than 15k max stam on a sword and board build. Never. I've tried. It's not enough. In my opinion, 15k is the floor, but we're sitting at 15.1. Magic recovery, we have about 1380, which is just enough for me. If you feel like you need more, go ahead and run more, but I've been running this and I've been doing all right with it. In terms of spell damage, we have almost 2150 spell damage, 2136 spell damage, so very respectable base spell damage, not including BSW. Like I said, we have a very low crit chance, only at 25.6%, but with the amount of damage amplifications that we have via Engulfing Flames and Elemental Drain, it's really not the end of the world, and we go really, really light into Elfborn anyway, so we do make up for it. We have a little over 2k crit resist. 2k crit resist is my floor. We'll never run below it, so I just make sure to always be above that. My resistances are a little inflated because I do have a defensive scroll bonus where I am, but they will be very close to 22k and 18k. It's only 2% difference, but that's about what you can expect for your resistances. In terms of pots, I always run tri-stat pots. They're amazing for sword and board builds. They act as like another battle roar. Really, really good. If you can either run Witch Mother's Potent Brew or what the hell's the other one called? Clockwork Citrus Fillet for your buff food. In terms of champion points, this is just what I run. Champion points are very customizable. If you don't like what I run, change it. We have 19 into Blessed to help with our healing. 23 into Elfborn. We have really low crit, so I don't go too heavy into Elfborn. 64 into Elemental Expert. 45 into Spell Erosion to give us massive pen between this and Ellie Drain. We also have 72 points into Master at Arms and 37 into Thaumaturge. This is one of the very few times that I go very heavy into Thaumaturge, and the only reason I am going this heavy is because you see the amount of dots we run in the build. We have Burning Embers, Burning Talons, Degen, Engulfing Flames, Volatile Armor, and I believe Eye of Frost also technically counts as a dot. So lots of dots. So Thaumaturge, very, very, very beneficial to the build. 56 points in Ironclad, 54 into Resistant, 56 in Thick Skin. There's a lot of dot builds running around right now, especially with Bleed, so I am making sure to have 56 into here. 43 into Hardy and 32 into Elemental Defender. DKs naturally defend a little bit better against Magicka targets due to our passive, so I'm choosing to go a little bit heavier into Hardy. And then 19 into Quick Recovery. We also have 13 points into Sprinter, 56 into Warlord, 75 into Arcanist, 72 into Shadow Ward, and 44 into Tumbling. But that is it, my friends. That is the Burn build revamped for Wolfhunter. I was super happy to put this build back together, man, and really just up its capabilities since I have improved significantly at the game from the last time I put the build together. It's really cool to see how much less recovery I need now and how much more damage I'm able to incorporate because of my skill improvements. And this build has been really, really enjoyable to play. Let me tell you, when you have all these dots running on someone and you hear that Skoria Q and you just leap and have Skoria hit at the same time, like, you'll just absolutely decimate somebody. And the build is just a ton of fun to play, And the TLDR of how to play this build: maintain your buffs, maintain your debuffs. That's the best way to play this build, and leap after a fossilize. That's the main thing of how this build plays. Your buff and debuff maintenance is everything. So as long as you practice that and make sure to do that, you'll be on your way. But yeah, overall, been having a ton of fun playing this build, and I can't possibly recommend it to you guys enough. So if you guys enjoyed this build, if you like this build video, I would appreciate if you smacked a like on it. For more videos like this, more Magicka PvP, more ESO guides, and more general great content, I'd appreciate if you hit that sub button, as well as hit the little bell to keep notifications on. I thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and I will answer you. But otherwise, that's it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.